Smart Child Zone presents Genes to Traits. Organisms, including people, have both inherited and acquired traits. Inherited and acquired traits are gained in different ways. Inherited traits are passed down from biological parents to their offspring through genes. Genes are pieces of hereditary material that contain the instructions that affect inherited traits. Offspring receive their genes, and therefore gain their inherited traits, from their biological parents. Inherited traits do not need to be learned. Acquired traits are gained during a person's life. Some acquired traits, such as riding a bicycle, are gained by learning. Parents do not pass acquired traits down to their offspring. Diana has dark skin. What information supports the conclusion that Diana inherited this trait? This statement does not describe how Diana came to have dark skin. This statement describes how Diana came to have dark skin. Her skin color was passed down from her parents. Diana inherited this trait. Carly has a scar on her left leg. What information supports the conclusion that Carly acquired this trait? This statement is true, but it does not describe how Carly came to have a scar on her left leg. This statement describes how Carly came to have a scar on her left leg. Carly acquired this trait after an accident. This trait was caused by the environment. All organisms have pieces of hereditary material called genes, which are passed from parents to offspring. Genes may have different alleles or forms that can cause different versions of a trait. An organism's genotype for a gene is its combination of alleles for that gene. So, a pea plant may have a genotype of all kinds for the flower color gene. An organism's phenotype for a trait is its observable version of that trait, which depends on the organism's combination of alleles. A pea plant may have a phenotype of purple flowers or white flowers for the flower color trait. Pandora, a jaguar from this group, has a spotted coat. Pandora has two alleles for a spotted coat. Based on this information, what is Pandora's phenotype for the coat pattern trait? An organism's phenotype for a trait is its observable version of that trait. Pandora's observable version of the coat pattern trait is a spotted coat. So Pandora's phenotype for the coat pattern trait is a spotted coat. A certain tomato plant from this group has red fruit. This plant has one allele for red fruit and one allele for yellow fruit. Based on this information, what is this tomato plant's genotype for the fruit color gene? An organism's genotype for a gene is its combination of alleles for that gene. The tomato plant has one allele for red fruit, capital F, and one allele for yellow fruit, small f. So the plant's genotype for the fruit color gene is FF. A certain channel catfish from this group has the homozygous genotype, BB for the body color gene. Based on this information, what is this catfish phenotype for the body color trait? The channel catfish genotype for the body color gene is BB. The channel catfish genotype of BB has only B alleles. The B allele is for a brown body. So the channel catfish phenotype for the body color trait must be a brown body. This family of dogs includes 2 parents and their 4 offspring. Select all of the true statements about the offspring. But some offspring have a different combination of traits than either of their parents. For example, one parent has dark, curly fur, and the other has light, straighter fur. Genes are passed down from parents to offspring. An organism's genes affect its traits, such as eye color and fur color. This passage describes the coat pattern trait in cheetahs. Read and use it to complete the Punnett square below to show all possible genotypes of the offspring from a cross between 2 cheetahs. First, look at the genotype of the parent on the left side of the Punnett square. Each allele in this genotype should be copied into the empty boxes to the right. Next, look at the genotype of the parent on the top of the Punnett square. Each allele in this genotype should be copied into the incomplete boxes below. The completed Punnett square should look like this. This Punnett square shows a cross between 2 rats. What is the expected ratio of offspring with a normal-sized body to offspring with a dwarf body? Choose the most likely ratio. So the expected ratio of offspring with a normal-sized body to offspring with a dwarf body is 4:0. This passage describes the growth pattern trait in rose plants. And this Punnett square shows a cross between 2 rose plants. How many boxes represent offspring with climbing growth? This means 3 boxes represent offspring with climbing growth. Look at the image and read the text. Then answer the question. An organism's eye color is affected by its genes. But eye color is not a gene. Eye color is a trait, which is an observable characteristic of an organism. When an organism reproduces, it passes copies of its genes to its offspring. This is how information about inherited traits is passed down. Genes contain information about inherited traits. All organisms have genes that contain information about their inherited traits. Read the text and look at the diagram carefully. Use it to put the following items in order from largest to smallest. Use the text and the diagram to help you order the items from largest to smallest. All organisms are made up of cells, so an organism is larger than a cell. Chromosomes are located inside cells. So a cell is larger than a chromosome. Each chromosome contains a DNA molecule. A gene is a section of this DNA molecule. So a chromosome is larger than a gene. A gene is a specific set of nucleotides within a DNA molecule. So a gene is larger than a nucleotide. The following passage describes the effects of a gene mutation, which is a permanent change in a gene. Read the passage and then follow the instructions below by completing the sentence. A mutation in a gene may affect the protein it encodes. So the mutation in the MCR1 gene affected the structure and function of the MCR1 protein. The following passage describes the effects of a gene mutation, which is a permanent change in a gene. Read the passage and then follow the instructions below by completing the sentence. A mutation in a gene may affect the protein it encodes. So the structure and function of the keratin protein was affected by the mutation in the KRT13 gene. Read the text carefully and match each term to its description. An organism's genes are the hereditary material inside the organism's cells. Genes are a hereditary material, which means they are passed from parents to offspring. Genes are located inside cells on structures called chromosomes. An organism's environment is the set of conditions that an organism is exposed to. Conditions in an organism's environment can include the type of weather, the availability of food, the presence of predators, and many other factors that can influence growth. Genes and the environment affect an organism's growth and development in different ways. Read the ways and complete the table to describe how an organism's genes and environment affect its traits. Both genes and the environment can affect an organism's traits. An organism's environment contains the raw materials the organism uses to grow and develop. The amount and types of raw materials can affect how the organism grows and develops. The way an organism grows and develops affects its traits. So this statement applies to an organism's environment. Organisms inherit genes from their parents. These genes contain information that is used by cells as instructions for an organism's growth and development. This growth and development affects an organism's traits. So this statement applies to an organism's set of genes. For more videos and other useful materials, visit us at www.smartchildzone.com/videos. Register your child and have access to our unlimited number of question and answer exercises. Visit www.smartchildzone.com.